Celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., taking a closer look at the woman by his side, Coretta Scott King. The new memoir, My Life, My Love, My Legacy, is based on recorded conversations Mrs. King had with Dr. Barbara Reynolds. And Robin recently sat down with King's youngest daughter, Bernice, to learn more about the First Lady of the Civil Rights Movement, who fought so long to have today recognized as a national holiday.
Today, we commemorate the vision, voice, and impact of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who advocated for racial justice and equality in America through his leadership and iconic words.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
A dream Dr. King shared with his wife, Coretta Scott King, who fought for 15 years to establish this day to honor her husband.
She was the architect of this King legacy. What we know of my father really came from her resilience, her determination.
In a newly released memoir and audio tapes, Mrs. King made it clear from the beginning of their marriage that she would be a force to be reckoned with. Listen closely to this exclusive recording as Mrs. King recalls a conversation she had with her husband.
I said, well, you know, I love being your wife and the mother of your children, but if that was all that I did, I would go crazy.
Your father wrote this about your mother. A wife can either make or break a husband. My wife was always stronger than I was through the struggle. In the darkest moments, she always brought the light of hope. Was that your mom?
Mm-hmm. In those crises moments, in those very difficult, challenging times, she rose to an occasion. And she could carry you. She could carry many people.
Well, I believe that Martin was chosen. I believe that I was chosen. Mm-hmm. And I say to the kids, this family was chosen as well.
As heard right there, Mrs. King divinely believed in their purpose as leaders of the civil rights movement. She thought she was as destined as him.
Exactly.
To do good things, great things.
Yes.
And not because she was his wife.
And I honestly believe in a different kind of way she did greater things. Probably because she lived longer, but also because she had the insight to see who he really was and articulate it in a way that an entire world could embrace.
Out of the spotlight, Coretta and Martin were like any other young couple. But Mrs. King had one simple wish.
I told him every woman wants a house. That's all I need is a house. As long as I have my own house, I'm fine.
And your father was like, no, because he didn't want people to think that he was benefiting from the movement. And your mom was like, I want a house. And she got that. So it tells you a little bit about her tenacity.
Yes, definitely. She had a lot of tenacity. And most times she got what she wanted.
That tenacity and strength put to the test in 1956 when their home was bombed.
Think about this. Daddy was the leader, but Mother was the one who first experienced the manifestation of a threat. She was in the home when it was bombed, not him.
And her baby girl.
And the baby girl. It's like God designed it this way because she had to first come to a resolve that I'm willing to risk the loss of my own life before even him.
While Mrs. King is known for her lifelong dedication to her husband and the movement, her first love was music. She aspired to be a classical singer.
When we grew up throughout the house, every morning, she would come down the hall. Wow. Yeah, so music always lived with her. It was an important part of her life. She made sure that she raised us with an appreciation of music.
Any regrets that she gave up her dream and your father was able to pursue what is called the dream?
Her sister said to her, you know, you won't have your career as you see it, but you will have your career in another way. Perhaps the greater way were those freedom concerts.
Mrs. King made it her mission to hold what she called freedom concerts, where she sang to raise awareness and funds for civil rights groups.
Just because I've been born again.
What do you think they're looking for? Here at the King Center in Atlanta, Dr. Bernice King discussed her hope for maintaining her parents' legacy of peace and understanding. How do we use what your mother and father fought so hard for to move forward?
I'm going to use his quote and her quote. His quote is, people hate each other because they fear each other. And they fear each other because they don't know each other. And they don't know each other because they are not communicating. They don't communicate because they're not connected. My mother said, struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and win it in every generation. She would help us to understand that we are all been called to this freedom struggle in the world. In these times, we have to be unrelenting in ensuring that certain freedoms are not lost and that we continue to forge forth in winning other freedoms.